All right, welcome to the latest episode of Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. Oh, I jumped ahead. This week on the latest episode, Keeping It Real with FilmGordon, we are talking about Rolling Stone's top 200 hip hop albums of all time. Let's just basically say nobody's really happy with this list. And over the next 60 minutes, Charles and I are going to come at it with a different perspective. I'll explain a lot more once we get it started. We'll have all that and more on the latest episode, Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. Let's go. Good afternoon and welcome to Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. I am Tim Gordon. I am joined by Charles Kirkland Jr. Charles, how are you, sir?
You know, it's hilarious to me that after 500 so episodes of this, you still don't know how to do it.
Okay, again, for folks who watch this every week, you realize there's going to be some foolishness to begin every show. We don't know. Charles is like saying, I don't know how to do this. It's basically because we're talking about something today where I'm going to have to carry Charles on my back for 60 minutes today. So I'm already getting some work.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
60 minutes, yo. All right, so let's jump right into it, man. Early this week, you and I were both at a screening of a movie that we will probably review on a bonus episode coming up a little later on. And somebody said, Tim, the new list of Rolling Stone has put out their hip hop list. And as I went through it, man, I just outrage, one choice after the next. So when I said in the tease that I would explain to you how we would come at this today, I really did mean that. That, as you can tell from looking at my chin, I'm a man of a certain age who has been listening to hip hop music since its inception in 1979. So you're talking about 43 years now of hip hop. In my lifetime, Charles, 43 years in your lifetime, man. I'm not sure exactly what the first of anything hip hop related you heard, because again, I grew up in the shadows of Manhattan over in Jersey, and we were getting a lot of the influences and a lot of the music early. So, what about you, Charles? What was your earliest memory of hip hop?
My first album that I ever purchased was Sugar Hill Gang's EP. So, I mean, I was there from the beginning. I mean, I was at 79. Yeah, 79.
Well, I told a story on here one time that when I was in 10th grade, I remembered hearing the first rap song I think that I ever heard was on a mix show at Seton Hall University Radio, WSOU. Right. And, it simply went Donald Lloyd's Unemployed and I Want Some Sex. So I got dressed and I went down to the 42nd and Lex. If you F with Floyd, you know what I mean, because the 42nd is that was literally the first rhyme I ever heard. And that was 1979. Right. So as you said, a couple of months later, there was King Tim III. There was one more other song that I remember. That had some rap in it, and then the Sugar Hill Gang album drops, and then after that there was just a flurry of everything from Sequence, Spoonie G. If you were live in New York and you were able to hear the Cold Crush Brothers, the Funky 4+1, that was the first era of hip hop. Curtis Blow, that was the first era of hip hop from about 1979 to about 1983. That whole genre. The era of Wild Style, Grandmaster Caz, the holy trinity of African Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, and Kool Herc. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the era that I'm talking about. I come out of for hip hop, and then I've watched hip hop grow over the course of the last 4 decades to what it is today. So I'm explaining that at the top because Charles and I were in our production meeting, and I told Charles that there are going to be some songs or some albums that are on Rolling Stone's list that I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just not familiar with who these cats are. I really am not. But by virtue that somebody put these albums on a list of this magnitude, and when I say this magnitude, meaning that it's supposed to be a list, certified by Rolling Stone, which is kind of like one of the top rock publications. It's supposed to be a list of the greats, right? And so none of this stuff is crap, Charles. We may not agree with the order of these songs, which we will get into in a very real way, but I just wanted to preference before we even get started who I am, where I come from. Charles, if you have an opening statement about who you are, what you represent, as we debate this, because I think our perspectives are very important as we talk about a list of this magnitude.
I think the important thing for me to also point out is that I come from an older school of hip hop. So, I know origins, I know the source. And so as things have progressed and we've gotten into this latest era of hip hop, I tend to be sometimes dismissive because I know where the source was and where it came from and the originators. And so, I have to always check myself. And sometimes, and you did this before we got started, that none of these things are bad. They're just different from where we came from. So, and I think that's going to be the perspective that's put together. They got a lot of history in hip hop that they're trying to get through and trying to equate different styles. It's always going to be hard when you're trying who's better, who's bad, so we'll see but I can honestly say this list is.
Well, Charles, I don't know what's going on audio wise over there with you, man, because as you were talking, man, a lot of that stuff was breaking up, man. So I hope you're able to hear us, man, because I'm like, man, I didn't hear the last thing you said. I heard you talking about what your perspective was, but as I said, it was breaking up on my end.
Okay, I must go ahead and get started, and I'll see if I can make some corrections here.
All right, man. So here we go, man. Let us jump right into it, man. And we're going to go in inverse order, starting at number 200, of course, Travis Scott, Astro World. Everybody knows about the tragedy several years ago, Travis Scott, at the Astro World Festival. So this album, not really something that I can honestly say I've listened to. Trying to think as we go down. I'm scrolling down, Charles. A lot of these albums that are in the 190s are not albums that I am familiar with. So I'm just going to be very transparent because, if I don't know something, I'm going to say I don't know. A$AP Rocky, Live, Love, A$AP from 2011 is an album I remember. I'm not sure if, its place again, nothing outrageous. Pop Smoke, who's gone too soon. His debut album, I think, is here at 192. Meet the Woo from 2019. Nothing controversial so far. As I scroll down. So first thing I want to stop and talk about is number 189, Charles. And that's Nipsey Hussle, the late Nipsey Hussle's. One of his mixtapes was called Crenshaw. And it was one that I listened to a lot. I am also one of those guys that sometimes only finds some of these guys after something happens to them. And right. Nipsey was one of those artists who I didn't listen to a lot of Nipsey while Nipsey was alive, wasn't really aware of Nipsey. But once he died and I got a chance to go through his discography, yeah, man, that's a loss. This guy was somebody who would really have impacted the culture. And Crenshaw, rightfully so, is on this list as one of those albums that I would suggest you, Charles, check out at some point, including the last song on the mixtape, which is a song called, God, what is it called, man? Is it called Crenshaw? Where he literally tells a story of how, he got on and how his brother Black Sam helped put him on. Really good song, man. So that was a really good mixtape from Nipsey Hussle, man. So if you didn't get a chance, Charles, to check that out, please do it, man. So any questions or comments so far, Charles? All right. Coming in at 188 from that era that I talked about at the top of the show, Wild Style, a soundtrack which featured many of the pioneers of the game, Grandmaster Cass and the Cold Crush Brothers, the Fantastic Freaks, Double Trouble, formerly the Funky 4+1 members Rodney C. and KK Rockwell, and a whole bunch of others, including Busy B, Grandmaster DST. So it's very important as this panel of folks that judged and put this list together. I can't really quarrel with Wild Styles where it is on the list, because I'll save that outrage for some stuff that's coming up later on. But I'm glad that it was acknowledged, because this was probably the first film pre-Beat Street, pre-Tougher Than Leather, pre that god-awful rapping, pre-Electric Boogaloo, pre all those movies was Wild Style, which gave people the first glimpse into what would be this billion-dollar industry of hip-hop. I stopped there, Charles, for you to jump in at any point, because I'm going down the list.
I'm glad you said that god awful rapping and not the god. Beat Street, was one of my favorites coming up, because the Kirkland family was represented in that show. So in that movie, I always feel Beat Street whenever people talk about it. That's close to my heart.
Got you. Coming in at 186, Too Short. Life is Too Short. I remember that album. I really do. And the persona.
Oh yeah, that was a classic, man. Back in the day when that dropped, Too Short was hot. So yeah, that's I'm glad it's there.
Look at this. Light as a Rock. Light as a Rock from MC Light, number 185, one of my favorite songs. I cram to understand. Cram to understand. Cram to understand. Told you this is my ish. So Lights at 185. Can't really, again, like I said, I'm glad some of these albums are on here. I can't really argue in either case that both those albums should be lower on the list, or lower meaning I guess they should be higher. Okay?
Higher?
I can't argue that either of those are higher. E40, of course, at 178 with his album In a Major Way from 1995. The Grave Diggers. I give them some credit, because there's a lot of ground to cover when you're talking about hip hop. And the fact that so many people got mentioned, like Roxanne Shantae's album from 1989. Again, Roxy, I like Shantae. I think she is amazing. Let me see. Purple Haze at 176. Mac Miller from 5 or 6 years ago, of The Divine Feminine. Wasn't an album I really listened to. Flo Millie, 172. Yeah, we're just going down. Marley Marl in Control. Now, Marley Marl in Control was the Juice Crew back in 1988. Yeah. So, when you ever hear rappers talking about 88, right? 88 was, I've heard Nas say this in rhymes, or Jay talk about it in rhymes. 88 was a seminal year in hip hop. And Marley Marl's In Control had the symphony, if people remember that, the all-star kind of collective that was Big Daddy Kane, Master Ace, Craig G, Cool G Rap. What's up? It's the place to be. In the symphony. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Of course you do. So yes, 88, man. So that made the list at number 171. So the symphony is in the house, and it is immortalized. Goody Mob is on the list with a song early. Above the Law. Wow. These guys they were out around the time of when Dre was talking about Dre and Warren G with the G-Funk era, along with Snoop Dogg. Okay, I see you. Childish Gambino is at, Because of the Internet, number 166. So far, man, nothing objectionable. And remember, there's a lot of people mad at this list, but they're mad once we get inside the 100s, man. So we're not there yet, Charles.
I love the fact that we're taking our time going through to get to the controversy, but I do think that Childish Gambino's album was actually a lot better because the internet was a lot better than most people gave it credit for. The Grammy nominated and winning, I believe, song "This Is America" is on that soundtrack. So I mean, maybe it could have been a little bit higher. I don't know.
Well, I think here's another one. This one to me feels like we talked earlier about Nipsey Hussle, who was gone way too soon and had one album on his list. This next artist that I'm talking about is another guy who was a seminal up and coming New York rapper who died way too young. And of course, I'm talking about Big L, Lamont Coleman. Big L, you know, if you go online and just Google Big L versus Jay-Z, they once battled each other. I forget Stretch and Bobbito's show. Just Google that and you'll hear Big L's flow. But Big L, I think on this album was Ebonics. Yeah. Big L was somebody special. And had he lived, you know, you're talking about the ages of you know, the age of a Jay, a Nas, a DMX, a Big L, Big Pun. These guys were problems in them streets. So yeah, man, his album, The Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, coming at number 160 on the list. I'm glad
isn't that the one that had all black on it?
That is the one when he's got on all black. Yes, from 1995.
Rock on, Big L. We miss you, baby.
Big L. I'm trying to think. I'm going through the list. Oh, here's a good one right here at 156, DJ Quick. Quick is the name. Yeah. Quick is born and raised in Compton. You know, so when you had NWA over here telling Compton stories, Quick was another guy on the other side of town. I'm glad that his album made the cut from 1991. Nice. Good inclusion there. At number 155, we were at the movies the other night. One of our colleagues, Shireen Nicole, and I were having a conversation after the movie. And she talked about Come Clean. Because you remember, this album was produced by DJ Premier. So you got You Can't Stop the Prophet, Ain't the Devil Happy, and Come Clean. J. Rue, The Damage of the Sun Rises in the East.
Wow.
Classic album from that period.
Wow.
Glad that we made the list at 155, man. You listen to them, you listen to those Primo tracks now.
I want to say 155, man. That's kind of that might be because J. Rue didn't have a lot of albums, but man, that album was dope back in the day. I mean, and if you listen to it right now, those tracks are still as hot as fire.
Big time. Now, coming in one spot ahead of J. Rue, The Damage as the Sun Rises in the East, Easy Does It from 1988. They came out 3 months after Straight Outta Compton. Again, Ice Cube writes the rhymes that I say. So you take it for what it means, man. I mean, that was a dangerous collective, man, of guys, man, talented, MC Ren, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre. I'm sorry, Yella, I left you out on purpose. All right, so being funny, man. You know, Yella, you had two DJs in the group. Yella was a DJ. Let's see. All right, so we moved down, and I think we got through the first 150, man. So we breezed through that, Charles, in about 15 minutes, man. So I think we're making some progress, man. We're moving on down. All right, let's get to number 150, The Roots, How I Got Over from 2010. Good album. I like it on the list. Let's see. There's a bunch of albums I may not be familiar with. Coming in at 148, Run the Jewels, Killer Mike. And yeah. All right. Now, here's where my first piece comes in that we're going to talk about. Coming in at number 147 is LL Cool J's Radio, right? Now, let me see. Rock the Bells. I Can't Live Without My Radio. I Can Give You More. Why is this album important, Charles? Well, before you answer, this album is important because for people who don't know, and maybe you do now since you've got Sirius XM and you can listen to Rock the Bells radio and the history is coming out. LL Cool J represents the second generation of hip hop. If we were talking about that 1979 to 1983 with the pioneers, from 84 to about 88 is like the next wave of guys, right? And inside that wave would be people like KRS-One, Public Enemy, Rakim, Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick. Kool Moe Dee is actually in the first generation,
right?
Because he was a member of God, what was it was the Treacherous Three, right? Him, LA, and Sunshine. LA, yeah. Right. Yeah. So he's the first generation, but there's so many guys, Cool G Rap, EPMD, that all are part of that next wave, the Beastie Boys, right? But when we're getting back to radio, LL Cool J literally was the first artist ever signed to Def Jam. This album might have been the first album on Def Jam, right? So when you're talking about radio, they named an entire hip hop, old school hip hop radio station after a song on this album called Rock the Bells. Rock the Bells. So again, man, at what was the number? 147?
147 for LL Cool J. And, you know, like you said, the second generation, he's in the second generation. A lot of people, you know, and that was kind of what the beef between him and Kool Moe Dee was that LL Cool J's style was Kool Moe Dee's style. And so, you know, a lot of people didn't appreciate somebody taking their style, just like you never let a MC take your rhymes. You don't look too favorably on somebody that's taking your style. But again, the whole fact of the matter was he was the next generation. He kind of outlasted Kool Moe Dee and kept it pushing. So, you know.
Oh, you're gonna be wannabes. When will you learn? You want to be like Cool J, you gotta wait your turn. Some suckers might not like me, but I'm not concerned. 6 G's for 20 minutes is the pay that I earn. I'm flowing like a forest blade. Do you like Michael Jackson? No, we like Cool J. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. I love Rock the Bells, man. That's my song, man. All right, coming in.
It's a great album, but it's not LL's best. So, you know, I think the next album of his was the better one. So,
all right. So here's my point. So coming in one spot ahead of radio is A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing from Blackstreet, which literally, I'm not trying to be dismissive of Blackstreet. All anybody knows is this or that. This
or that.
Who's the black sheep? What's the black sheep?
Don't know who I am, but when I come inside, you sleep.
All right, so watch this. Can I get a hey? Hey, you know? Whoa. But watch this. What else was on that album? Exactly. My point is that 46 above radio?
Yeah, that's tough. That was tight.
All right, so coming in at number 145 is another album I happen to love, which might be too low on the list. And this is from Common. The album is called B, right? B had, you know, some Dilla produced tracks on there, including Love Is, which I thought was great. But the one song I want to point out, which I just think is genius, and I'm not sure, Charles, if you've ever heard The Corner from Common.
Yeah. I have this album, so yeah, I have.
Well, wait a minute. So you'll know this, that it's he has 3 verses in here. And every verse ends in different, how do you, I'm not sure if I'm or articulating this correctly. In the song, The Corner, the first verse ends in a single syllable, right? Like E. And then in the second verse, it's 2 syllables. The third verse is 3 syllables. He wrote it that way intentionally. And when you listen to it, it's friggin' brilliant. It blows my mind how good B is as an album. It really is. The fact that this is at 145, low, too low. This should be up higher on this list. B is, they're not 144 hip hop albums better than B. This is not. There might be, no, stop. There might be 100 better than B. There might be 78. They're not 144 albums better than B.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I feel you on that. But the problem is a lot of people look at Common as an actor. Same thing with LL Cool J. They look at him as an actor now, and so his rap stuff is just not rated as high. But I agree totally with you that this album was fantastically put together. I think Kanye did some tracks on the album as well. So produced some tracks on this album as well. It's fire to me. 145 is very low.
All right. Also, shout out to Ninth Wonder and Fonte, The Listening from 2003 from Lil Brothers at 142. I actually got a chance to meet Ninth Wonder one time. And, there's a song on one of these albums. I can't even remember which one it was, but I kept getting in his ears like, bro, you got to give me the sample. You got to tell me where you got this track from. I can't figure it out. But coming in at 141, Black Moon, Into the Stage. Yeah, buck 'em down, buck 'em down, buck 'em down. This is New York hip hop, early 93, before the revival of the genre. And the revival of the genre would come later on in 93. I think it was late October, early November when the Wu-Tang Clan's debut Into the 36 Chambers dropped. 4 months after that, a little 19-year-old kid named Nasir Jones that we better know as Nas dropped Illmatic. And then 4 months or 5 months after that, another kid named Christopher Wallace dropped, Ready to Die. And New York was fighting off the Chronic and Doggy Style, and they were on their way back. That was a seminal period, but Black Moon's Into the Stage also was around, as well as Mobb Deep, probably a year earlier with the Infamous. So, down, but not all the way out. Coming in at number 140 is one of my favorite hip hop artists of all time. This is his second album. It was written, this is from Nas. I can't really say anything about this album. I think that there was a lot of disappointment in the streets because the bar was raised high for Illmatic, that Nas was still experimenting, finding out who he was. The fact that this album made the list that gives Nas, I think, 2 albums is to be commended. Sometimes it's just about making the list, Charles, being a nominee, being an honoree. It's not about winning all the time. So Nas at 140 for It Was Written. Okay. Let's see. Anything else, Charles, that that's jumped out at you so far from what we talked about?
So far, or any? As
not what's coming up.
Okay, I'm not going. I'm good with where we are. Because we're about to get the one I want to talk about.
All right, 134, Tupac, Me Against the World. This was pre-Death Row Tupac. This is Tupac still finding his voice. If I Die Tonight, Lord Knows. Dear Mama was on this album. This gave people a glimpse that, this dude, there was a lot more going on up here and in here for this artist, man, which would bind him to his audience. And then later on, despite the fact that, in my estimation, it didn't end well, Pac is still revered as one of the all-time greats in the game, man. Coming in at 132.
Oh, wait, time out. You skipped over two albums that I wanted to talk about. 138, City Girls came out with Period. Right. And I'm sorry. I don't understand how they even made the list. And don't accuse me of being old-fashioned or whatever, but I thought this album was horrible, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And this was just something that caught a wave or something, but I don't even see how they made the list at 138. And then at 136, you had Doja Cat's album. I didn't even, Okay, I'm sorry. Doja Cat, just that thing came out last year during the pandemic, and I think it was only because there was nothing else happening that people latched on to this girl who don't even recognize who she is. So I'm upset to see both of those on this top 200 list. I don't think you got to have some skin in the game, and for me, Doja Cat, nah, she doesn't have any. She doesn't have any.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I'm glad that you put it that way. That was pretty good. I'm going to point out 132, J. Cole. I remember this album, 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Two songs in particular on here. Wet Dreams, where he song about him losing his virginity. Love Yours. Oh my God. That song played in rotation for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Love Yours. Go ahead, J. Cole. All right. Coming in at 131, we're going to talk about this guy a little later on. So just stick a pin in the fact from the Wu-Tang Clan, the first entry from the Wu, and the guy from the Wu-Tang Clan who's probably got more albums on this list than any other member of the Wu-Tang Clan. Of course, it's Ghostface Killah. This is Fish Scale from 2006. As I said, stick a pin in that. We'll talk about Ghost a little later on. All right, number 130, Mecca and the Soul Brother, Pete Rock and CL Smooth. They reminisce over you. What is the other song that he has on here? Lots of Lovin'. Remember, you remember that one? Lots of lovin', da, da, da. Lots of lovin'.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, used to love that song too. That played in a lot of rotation for me, but yeah, man. Okay. Just glad to see it on the list. Let me see. As I'm going, number 128, Big Pun, Capital Punishment. That album might be too low on the list.
Yeah.
This dude, Christopher Rios, much like we talked about Big L before, of guys that we lost really, really early, that we never got to see them fulfill their potential. Pun and Big L are 1 and 2 on that list to me, and I'm sure we'll see some more. But yeah, this one was good. Twins deep cover. Still not a player, but I crush a lot.
Yeah, I think maybe because he didn't have that big career, that long career. Mm-hmm. But man, Big Pun was hot back in the day. I mean, 128 is kind of low, but I'm not going to argue with it because there's a lot of things out there that we're going to get to.
124, Outkast, Speaker Box, The Love Below. There's going to be a lot of Outkast love. Stick a pin in them. We'll be back later for them too, because I love me some Andre 3000 and Big Boy, man. Very.
I mean, this was a double album. Of course, this was at the end of the Outkast era where we were losing them. So I kind of have some feelings about it being so low, but we'll get to it.
All righty, number 121, A Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travels in the Path of Rhythm. Stick a pin in this one because Bonita Applebaum was on this one. This was the beginning of the Tribe run. There are 2 other albums that come after this that are much higher on this list, and rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
But you can't forget, Can I Kick It? And I Left My Wallet in El Segundo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But stick a pin in that. We'll be back. As we go down the list. Oh, here's one. Right now, this guy is a wonderful director. But before he was a director, he was a rapper in a collective out in the Bay called The Coup. Boots Riley, who made, what was the name of that crazy movie? With Stansfield and Tessa Thompson.
Sorry to Bother You. Before Sorry to Bother You, he was the front man on a group that, I can't even say it, man. I listened to a couple of Coup songs, or songs from the Coup. Dude has skills. I had never heard of it, but when I was in case you haven't figured it out yet, all you got to do is expose me to something. Let me do my research, and I go, okay. Or I'll say, that's not hot.
But Boots is his own man, and his musical style is really amazing. He doesn't, when you talk about the Bay and when you think about Too Short and E40 and a lot of these other artists that come out the Bay, he may not get that acclaim, but those folks in that area know that the Cool was something special, man. So, Charles, anything from you?
Nope, I'm gonna leave it right there.
All right, that's why I love Charles.
Love that West Coast rap.
116. Straight out the jungle. The Jungle Brothers. I'm sorry. I these, you can tell that I was a nerd listening to some of these songs, and I can still remember these tracks as soon as I get these groups. So Jim Browski, Black is Black, Jungle Brothers, man. That was that whole Native Tongues collective, Holy Love, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Jungle Brothers, Mike G in the Jungle. Yeah, man. All righty, here's one for you, Charles. Coming in at 115. You know where I'm going with this. One of the three founding fathers of hip hop, African Bambaataa, looking for the perfect beat, 1980 to 85. The Zulu Nation, and blending craft work for songs like Looking for the Perfect Beat. Or Planet Rock, Is the Sure Shot. Come on, Charles.
Planet Rock, come on. That was life. That was life.
As we bring up African Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, we also have to say that in 2016, Bambaataa was accused of a pattern of child abuse stretching back decades and also sued in civil court for sex trafficking a year ago. So you got to take the good with the bad, but man, 40 years ago when he dropped all of these songs back in the day and was a part of that movement in the first phase of the early pioneers of hip hop, Bambaata's place is secure. Now, Bambaata's ending may not be secure, but his place with his music is secure. All right, coming in at 114, Sex Packets, Digital Planet. Digital Underground. Humpty Hump. Yeah. Shock G. Mm-hmm. They're on the list, man. They're on the list.
And don't forget Tupac.
Right. A young Tupac in it. Thank you, Charles, for mentioning that. Number 113. This is interesting because I love this album a lot. And at 113, I think this is too low. Jay-Z's The Black Album, which was supposed to be his retirement album. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is, come on, man.
No, I got a story about this album. I'm going to just tell you right now. I went over to this discount album store and I found the Black Album for $1, a CD of the Black Album for $1.
Wow.
I swiped that junk up so fast, right? So I bring it home and don't you know some joker breaks into my truck and steals the album I bought for $1, the Jay-Z Black Album. Now here's the bad thing. They left the CD case. They took the CD out of the case. They left me the case. No, I'm just upset.
All right, so okay.
One of my favorite albums.
That's a great story. But here's one for you. Coming in at 112 is Rhapsody's Layla Wisdom. Now, Charles, am I correct? Is this the only appearance from Rhapsody on this list, or is there another appearance on it?
I have not seen the whole list to know, but I think this is the first time I heard her name. And to be honest, I don't think Layla's Wisdom is her best album.
Well, I was gonna say if Eve's not on this list, we need to fight somebody because that Eve album. Now Layla's Wisdom, good album. Eve, yeah, we stepped it up a level, man. Okay, 111. Gotta love this one. KRS-One, Scott LaRock, pre-COVID DJ Nice. I'm sorry, DJ Nice. DJ. What am I calling him, man? It's DJ. It is DJ Nice. I mean, it's
Nice.
I'm sorry, D Nice. My bad. My apologies. I had a senior moment there. D Nice. Before COVID, when he became a superstar, he was in Boogie Down Productions, if you never seen the movie, what was it called? I'm gonna get you, sucker. When he, along with KRS and Miss Melody, were all a part of the theme music for Jack of Spades.
Hilarious.
So, yeah. But this album here, I never forget. I was in the Marine Corps at the time, and this young kid came in with this album, and I'm listening to it, right? And the first thing I ever heard, which threw me off, was Boogie Down Productions. We'll always get paid. I was like, what the hell is that? We'll take the wackest songs and make it better. Remember to let us into your skin. I'm sitting there like this. What am I listening to? We'll begin to master rhyming, and the beat drops, and I was like, criminal minded, you've been bop. The rest is history. After that, Charles, every time BDP put out an album for like the next 5 years, I didn't even need to hear it. I'll take BDP for 100, Bob. BDP. So, hey, man.
This is the album that has Stop the Violence on it too. So I mean,
my God, man. 1, 2, 3, the crew is gone. Wow. Yes, sir. Oh, man. And the late great is at 110, man. Biz Markie going off. Oh. The album with Nobody Beats the Biz. Can you feel it? Nothing can save you, because this is the season of catching the vapors. Snoop Dogg redid the Vapors, man. The Vapors is a classic. Woo.
My mother even loved the Vapors.
She also introduced the world to Big Daddy Kane. Yeah. I got another fella that's calm and plain. He goes by the name of the Big Daddy Kane. A mellow kind of fellow. That's late. I'm sorry. All righty. Moving on, Charles. Look, number 108. Man, we may have to do a second hour, because there's a lot of albums, man. Coming in at number 109 is The Main Source, Breaking Atoms from 1991. Why do I mention this? Because on this album, the world first heard a young kid say, I went to jail for snuffing Jesus. It was Nas live at the barbecue on this album. So, yo, man, Large Professor, woo, yeah, Large Professor would also go on to be one of the producers that produced an album that's coming up a lot later in the list. Stick a pin in that as well. All right, Pusha T's Daytona at 108, which is Pusha T now, for Charles, is probably the top crack rapper in the history of the game. Jay-Z was, Pusha T is now. Pusha T, if you know, you know, on this album, produced by Kanye West. Man, this dude is the truth, man. Pusha T is the business, man. Kool G Rap and DJ Polo coming in at with Wanted Dead or Alive from 1990 at 107. Old Dirty Bastard, Return of the 36 Chambers. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. Shimmy, shimmy, oh, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Oh, sorry. All right, man. I'm just having a lot of fun, man, as you can tell, man.
Yeah, come on, let's speed up, man. You taking forever.
I am, man.
I want to get to controversy. I love the reminiscing and everything, but I want to get to the controversy.
Mos Def, Black on Both Sides, is at 103 with Miss Fat Booty. If you don't know what it is, just Google it. And you're welcome. Let me see. 101. All righty, let's get into the hundreds now, man. We got, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna have enough time, Charles, to get there, man. We may not have enough time to get there, man.
You're such a tease.
I'm gonna do it on purpose, man. There's a lot of commentary that's involved in just thinking. We had some other guests, it would take us even longer to get there. Coming in at number 100, Raising Hell from Run DMC, Peter Piper, Pick Peppers, and Run Rock Rhymes. My Adidas, classic album at 100. Charles, too low?
Wow.
Where is it supposed to be?
Wow. At 100?
100. All right. Okay, as you think about that, number 96 is Rhyme Pays from Power from Ice-T, which is notable because it had a picture of his wife Darlene on it, and And then on the back cover, when you flipped it, it was a picture of them from the back. It was an album that had girls LGBNAF. Remember that one?
Yeah. Why are you saying it the way you're saying it? Why are you saying it that way?
Let's get butt net. Oh, sorry. That's why I'm saying that. Trap Music from T.I. is at 95. That was his debut album. Yeah, that was pretty good. The Rubber Band Man. Let's see. De La Soul is Dead from 1991, clocking in at number 94. Death Certificate, one of my favorite Ice Cube albums, is at 93. Feeling some kind of way about that. That's a good album. Let's see. Number 91, Criminal Minded, BDP. Now, the first album was the debut. No, I'm sorry. This is the debut album, Criminal Minded. My Philosophy was the one that came in a little higher on this, but 2 BDP albums hovering around the 90, 100 spot. One for All, Brand Nubians, number 89. Remember that one, Slow Down?
Yeah, Slow Down. Yeah, baby.
Uh-oh. Here is something you can't understand. How I can just kill a man. Number 88, Cypress Hill, the most successful Latin group in the history of hip hop. Just saw a documentary on them the other night on Showtime. Very important group to the culture, man. The Ultramagnetic MCs from that year again, Charles, 1988. Let's see, Common, Like Water for Chocolate, that gave us The Light. Yeah, it's another good album, man. The Slim Shady LP by Eminem comes in at number 85, Charles. Some of these albums are way too low on the list, man. They just really are, man.
Yeah, you say that only because you've also know what's ahead of it. But
I do, and including this album, which to me is seminal, from 1988. It is Slick Rick and the Great Adventures of Slick Rick, a children's story. Once upon a time, not long ago. Oh my God.
Hold up. Are you saying that there's 82 albums better than the Great Adventures of Slick Rick?
81 albums better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. 81 albums better.
And including here's my argument right here. One spot above Slick Rick, The Adventures of Slick Rick, they put Diggable Planets, Where I'm Cool Like That. And I remember, Charles, what else is on this album that's memorable?
No, that wasn't there's nothing.
Coming in at number 79.
It was one song, Cool Like That. You can't tell. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, look, I'm with you. Look, coming in at number 79, Eric B. and Rakim, Follow the Leader. This album featured Microphone Fiend, Lyrics of Fury, Paid in Full. Wait a minute, hold on a second. This was Paid in Full was their debut, which is much higher on this list, but Follow the Leader, man. Is My Melody on this album?
I believe so.
Wow. At 79. Wow. All right, I'm going down the list. I see Azalea Banks, Broke with Expensive Taste, finished ahead of Follow the Leader and The Adventures of Slick Rick.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. Watch the Throne by Jigga and Kanye, coming in at number 76. Gangstar, Hard to Earn. Love this album. Mass Appeal, remember that?
Yeah, it was a good album. I think it's placed in the right spot, except for you have a couple things above it or below it that don't make sense, but it's in a good spot.
Number 74, Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. Brother's gonna work it out.
Fight the Power.
No, I don't. No, yeah, Fight the Power might have been on this album.
Fight the Power's on that. Yeah, that was on that one.
Oh man,
yeah.
Me by Far Side. Number 73, Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. All right. All hail the Queen, Queen Latifah, 1989. Now, I don't know if Queen Latifah's next album was on the list, UNITY, because I think that comes like 4 years later.
Right.
But man, Latifah's home, my homegirl, who I've talked to you about on this show, who her mother taught at my high school. She went to my high school. She was an all-state basketball player. One of the best artists, hip hop artists coming out of Jersey, followed by this next group. This album at this number, way too low. The Fugees, The Score, way too low at 70. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, wait, it should be much higher. Way too low. Now think about this for a second. The Fugees, this was the album, their last album, and then they broke up. Lauryn Hill's debut album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which is way up on this list. You saw the glimpses of Wyclef, Pras, and L Boogie. There's no way there's 70 or 69 albums better than The Score. The Score should be a top 20 album. Easily.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say top 15.
All right, the second appearance from that man again, Ghostface Killer. This is Iron Man, 1996. It's a good album. Good album. Good album. That's all I can tell you. Let's see. Juvie, Ghetto Boys, the greatest mental health song in hip hop history. Is My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me. Paranoia, all kind of stuff. It is an amazing song to this day. Plus, you're talking about rest in peace to Bushwick Bill, Willie D, Scarface. Scarface is also amazing. Should have had some solo albums on this list as well. Let me see. Daylight again. The debut album of 50 Cent when he had y'all up in the club. Number 64, Get Rich or Die Trying. Made a movie out of it. 64, man. What are you thinking, Charles? Up, down, placed properly?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm good with that. But I'm always conflicted when they say that this is 50 Cent's debut, because he had done mixtapes.
A gang of mixtapes, right? I'm with you.
But yeah, okay.
So let's skip ahead. Scarface the Diary is at 61. I just talked about he needed to have some solo songs. At number 60, just like the controversy of number 70, here's another controversy. Number 60, Kendrick Lamar's Damn. This is the album that features Fear, that won a Pulitzer. This was the follow-up.
Butterfly. Oh, that was after yeah.
Damn was after. This is an absolutely stunning artistic statement and piece of work, man. Kendrick Lamar is amazing on this. Should not be number 60. Just like Life After Death, the last album from the Notorious B.I.G. is at 59.
He won a Pulitzer. He won a Pulitzer Prize for this album.
So let's go down. Let's go down. Look, Charles, let's go down in a row from 60 on down. So Damn from Kendrick Lamar is at 60. Life After Death from Biggie is at 59. America's Most Wanted, Ice Cube's debut album after he left NWA, is at number 58. At 57 is the Beastie Boys, License to Ill. You can stop right there, man. Just in a row, one classic album after the next. A Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders at 55, which arguably might be one of their best albums. Coming in at number 53, Hot, Cool, and Vicious, Salt and Pepper, which had the showstopper, the work they did with Herbie Love Bug back in the day. My Mic Sounds Nice, and Push It. We're all on that album. And then at 52, The College Dropout from Kanye West. I mean, so we're in the deep right now. These are albums. Things Fall Apart at 51. Pretty amazing stuff. The Jill Scott, Erykah Badu. If you don't worry about. Great stuff here, man. Great stuff. So Charles, as I'm loading up to get down, we're running out of time, man. But there's some amazing albums. We probably should have done this show. This should have been a 2-hour show because it's just far too many stories and too much music to really chop it up to really do this thing properly.
Do you know who No Name is? Have you ever heard of that rapper before?
I have not, which is why we went over that. I know No ID. I don't know No Name. EPMD at number 50 was Strictly Business, which was a classic again from that year of 1988. Let's see. Straight out of Compton from what year, Charles?
88.
88, man. 88 was a seminal year in hip hop. Dilla's Donuts, one of the last albums before Dilla left us. Really classic joint. Missy Elliott with Super Duper Fly at 47. At 40, yeah, I'm not even going over that. Mama Said Knock You Out at 45, leaving Tyler the Creator for somebody else who can really give that album some love. And number 44 from the Wu-Tang Clan is the Jizza with Liquid Swords. Liquid Swords has, my favorite is the title track. If you haven't heard the title track, Google that and you're welcome. Coming in number 43, Run DMC's album. Yeah, this was, it's like that. And that's the way it is.
It is.
It's moved the culture forward. 5 years later, in that year of what?
1988.
Do you understand how many times we've said 1988 on this list, man? This time we say it for Big Daddy Kane. Long live the Kane, where Kane got raw. And again, you've heard me say it over and over. Google, you're welcome, raw. Number 41, Kanye West, Late Registration. That, and now here's another outrage. And before we get out of here, I got to talk about this. Sonically, one of the greatest hip hop albums ever produced. It created a blueprint that it's such a high bar that he set. He's literally only done like maybe 2 albums in an EP since he did this one album called The Chronic. There is no way The Chronic is, there are 39 hip hop albums better than The Chronic. This is not. This album introduced us to Snoop Dogg. This was in the middle of what they call the G-Funk era. He redefined, people from coast to coast were listening to The Chronic. The Chronic is I started to use the word, it's a motherfucking classic. Charles?
We had lowriders on the East Coast bouncing up and down because of The Chronic. That's all I'm going to say.
Number 37, only built for Cuban links. This is probably one of the best solo albums from any member of the Wu-Tang Clan. This was Ghost and Ray. Yeah. Very good album. Coming in at number 35, Doggy Style. The guy who is now CEO of Death Row Records, Snoop Dogg, has brought this thing back. This album went 11 times platinum and is sitting at 35. Charles, 11 times platinum at number 35. At number 34 is the Sugar Hill Gang, where Grandmaster Caz's song or bars were stolen and used in Rapper's Delight, which at the time was the largest hip hop, probably one of the biggest hip hop singles in hip hop history to this day, that dropped 40 some odd years ago. De La Soul, Three Fading Rising at 33. Nicki Minaj, and this would also be controversy later on, has 2 albums inside the top 30. One, Charles, Nicki Minaj. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there for you.
I said, I prefaced that at the beginning of the show. I know a lot of this new age hip hop, but you can't tell me that this Pink Friday is better than Illmatic or The Chronic.
We haven't gotten there yet, man. We haven't gotten there. We close. All Eyes on Me from Tupac, one of the few double albums in hip hop history, sitting at number 29. 28, The Infamous from Mobb Deep. Great album. Aquemini. Outkast. Don't get enough love, man. Outkast. Great group. And the debut album from Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubts, is sitting at 26, Charles. Sitting at 25 is the Marshall Mathers LP in 2000. And here's where my outrage goes into overdrive. At 24 is one of the greatest hip hop albums and debuts of all time. It is none other than Nas's Illmatic. Now, later on, we now know that in the top 10 of this list is the notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die. We know Wu-Tang Clan's Enter the 36 Chambers is in the top 10. We also know that the Blueprint from Jay-Z is in the top 10. If I listen to enough songs from Jigga, when he talked about in rap, who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas? Along with the Wu, these guys are the New York royalty. That is like the foursome that had a leg lock on NYC. If Biggie, Wu, and Jay are in the top 10, why is Illmatic not in the top 10? It is a top 10 album. To me, it might be a top 5 album for me, right?
They didn't even put it in the top 20.
Not even in the top 20, man. We go down. DMX is Dark and Hell is Hot, one of 2 platinum albums that he released in 1998, which is a 10-year revival. Of course, we get Lil Wayne, and we get to the top 20. There is Future. At 18, Lil' Kim's Hardcore over Illmatic. MF Doom has a song in the top, has an album in the top 20. Too High. Yeezus from Kanye. Not my favorite Kanye West album, but I've talked to people who love Ye, and I can respect that choice. Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy from 2018 is at number 16, and that is the outrage. You have Cardi B's album over The Chronic, over Illmatic, over All Eyes on Me, over the Marshall Mathers LP, over Doggy Style. I mean, I don't even have to say it. Way too high. Nobody thinks it should be there, and it is just a trap. Charles is a travesty. Go ahead.
The only person that's happy with this is Cardi B. There's the only person that can be absolutely happy that Cardi B's album is this high on this list.
All right, coming in at 15, of course, Eric B. and Rakim, Ghostface Killah Supreme Clientele, the 3rd album from Ghost, from the Wu-Tang Clan on this list. Dr. Dre's 2001 is at number 13, which I would have been comfortable if you would have flipped The Chronic and put it at 13 and put 2001 at 40. That would have worked for me. Because I think you heard me say it earlier, sonically, it just changed the game. It got him hooked up with Jimmy Iovine, who in turn hooked him up with Beats by Dre. The 2 of them went into business with Apple. Again, like I said, Clips has a song at 12. Of course, I think this was Grinding on that album.
Again, but wait a minute. Come on. Grinding? Come on.
Grinding was a good single. I don't know the album enough to come for it. Is it too high to me? Yes. As well as number 11 with Drake, Take Care. There's no way that should be the 11th best album. Not to me. Number 10, absolutely. Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill won 5 Grammys. It's such a dope album. She never made another. And it's etched in the lore of the game as one of the greatest albums, greatest debut albums in hip hop history. It's an amazing album from L Boogie out of South Orange, New Jersey. You're welcome. Coming in at number 9, The Low End Theory, Tribe Called Quest. Yes. Number 8, Into the 36 Chambers, The Wu-Tang Clan. Yes. Coming in at number 7, Missy Elliott, Miss E, So Addicted. I don't know. Again, and I could be wrong. I love Missy Elliott. Is this the album, though? Because there's several Missy albums on here. Is this the album that should have been the top 10 one? I don't know. Don't know enough about this one to hit you. Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I listened to this album, man, and it's really interesting. There's several songs on here I like a lot. I'm not sure if I would have put this as my number 6 album. I think it does. I think it has earned its place on the list, high on the list. I don't know if, to me, 6. I don't know if I would have put it there. I'm sure if Julian was here, he'd say absolutely.
This is the I wouldn't say penultimate. This is the culmination of all Kanye's work in the past. I think everything that he's done with from College Dropout on to whatever else he had, 808 and Heartbreak and Late Registration, he brings it all together in this album. I think a lot of the songs are really good, but there are a couple songs on here that are really not good to me. And so I agree, maybe too high for number 6, but I can understand how they're rating this as the best of all of his albums.
All right, here's our final 5, man. Number 5, and I don't have an issue with any of these. Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. Absolutely. Number 4, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Public Enemy from what's that year, Charles?
1988.
1988. Public Enemy. 1988 is the year in hip hop. In case you didn't know, they gave you enough 88 choices to show you how dominant of a year that was. From 2001, the album that started a war, one of the largest wars in hip hop history, of course, Jay-Z's The Blueprint, when he came for both Mobb Deep and Nas, and Nas would get that ASS back in a couple of years with Ether. But Jay was riding high. Nobody was messing with Jay. But then he woke up the sleeping giant, and the giant put him down on that one, according to the streets of New York. Not just Tim Gordon, according to them streets. Coming in at number 2, Stankonia from Outkast. Here's another one. This was a double album. One album that was Andre's side, the other album, excuse me, which was Big Boy's album. You had Bombs Over Baghdad, Miss Jackson, So Fresh and So Clean. Yeah, it's a pretty good album. I would debate whether it was a better album if Southern, what was it? Southern something Playalistic. That didn't even make the list. That one didn't make the list, but Aquemini made the list, and Stankonia made the list. This is a good one. And coming in at number 1, of course, the Don Dada, Frank White, the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie, Ready to Die, 1994. So having said that, as we wrap this up, there's nothing to say about this album that, was Biggie's debut in September of 94 that reinvigorated the East Coast. It was the culmination of a year that had Wu-Tang's album, Nas's album, Big's album. Outkast also debuted in 94 with Southern Classic, something Playalistic. I don't know the title. But so 94, late 93, early 94, amazing year in hip hop. I understand that there's a sentimental value to Ready to Die, but also you've got Warning, you've got Juicy, there's a lot of hits on Ready to Die. That's a really good choice at number 1. So Charles, having said that, I think that we voiced over the course of an hour albums that we thought were too high, albums we just kind of glossed over that weren't really our albums. I think from top to bottom, the list is representative of the entirety of hip hop. Some of the more recent things I think are rated a little too higher, and the stuff that are the foundational albums, that are the albums that built hip hop, are way too low. And I think there is a proper balance of recognizing old school or golden age hip hop versus what's contemporary. What's your takeaway on the list?
I think once you got inside the top 10, there was little discussion about what was there. But it was just getting from 20 to 10, where there was a lot of like, really, are you sure you want to put that there? And so, I agree. There's a lot of things that were the basis of what hip hop was all about, where it came from, that got rated too low. And like I said, I'm not shading Cardi B, but I can tell that this list had a lot of young people. The people who made this list had a lot of young people on it, because they just couldn't accept the greatness of things of the past. They just worked too hard to put stuff that's current in there.
Got you. All right, Charles. Well, that wraps it up for us, man, on the latest episode of Keeping It Real with Film Gordon, our special episode saluting, well, not saluting, but dissecting and discussing Rolling Stones' 200 top hip hop albums of all time. So until next time, you guys enjoy your summer. It's my favorite time of the year. It's not Charles's favorite time of the year because he doesn't like all of the heat. But you enjoy your weekend. And we've given you lots of recommendations to check out. We are a film show, but we also undercover music nerds. So until next week, you guys take care and we will talk to you soon. Enjoy.